Previously on Sailing Miss Lone Star, we unpack our brand new wind catchers, sponsored by Far East Sails. We're back! We're in Buzzards Bay and we're back at Little Miss. This week, we begin the projects that will eventually make this boat as blue water ready as she'll ever be.
Just putting in the overflow fitting for the forward water tanks here. It's just gonna go straight into the sink.
Not with this.
Welcome back to Sailing Miss Lone Star.
Soon to be Go See. You are actually witnessing something amazing.
Taking a coastal cruiser,
right,
and turning it into a blue water cruiser.
I hear people going, impossible. I can kind of hear people saying,
that boat will never be a blue water cruiser.
What I can tell you, my friend, is that everybody said the same thing. We splashed this boat, she sailed it up the East Coast, and it was the most amazing thing ever. This is a good boat. I like this boat.
She's not heavy.
She's not heavy.
8,000 pounds, so 4 tons.
Which is negative in some parts of the world, and sometimes you want a little bit more a heavier boat. But the bottom line is we're gonna get this boat ready so that Bianca can maybe one day sail it around the world. Bianca really likes this Laura Decker story, and she wants to be sailing with the little boat. So guys, we're doing a lot of stuff on the boat. What are we doing today?
Today we're doing a few things. So as you guys know, it's illegal to have a boat that doesn't have a black water tank in some states like Florida. And it's also not very nice to go into marinas and moorings and just be putting your black water over the side. So,
we're supposed to be gentlemen, eh?
Yeah.
Sailors are supposed to be the kind people.
That's right. So what we're doing today is we're installing a small black water tank. Now the cool thing about that is that this boat already had the fittings for that, meaning the deck pump out and the exhaust that you need for it. So we found a tank laying around the boatyard that has never been used, just so you guys know. And
no, this is gonna be the overflow for the aft water tank, which I drilled a hole just here on the port side, which I'll show you, and I'm gonna install this little guy.
Yeah, so what's cool about that is that the fill, which is new as well, I think I showed you guys last week, is right next to the overflow. So as you're filling, you can see when it's full because it will overflow, and it's in the deck. So there's things that we're doing on this boat right now that needed to be done that make life so much easier that I just didn't realize needed to be done. And a lot of them are pretty cheap fixes too, so.
I never thought that this was gonna be the blue water cruiser. I thought that this was gonna be the boat we bought for $1, fixed up. You guys sailed it, and it's gonna be like an expedition, like tryout boat before we got on your boat.
I love this boat.
I'm convinced, and I fell in love with this boat as much, maybe a little bit less than I fell in love with her and Bianca. And we're gonna sail this boat as far as we can, and you guys are coming with. Okay, I'm at West Marine in Fairhaven. Somehow, I always find myself coming back to West Marine. They're so expensive, but they have everything. So the pad eyes on the mast, you really want two strong ones because those blocks are going to go through them for the lazy jack. And they have these thin ones. I don't really know which one to take, but let's decide on just a strong one. And I think I'm going to go with this one. We only have one of these, so I'm gonna have to go with these two. Perfect. So for $120, you can get the 2.0 GPM one, or you can get the 3.0 for 154 bucks. I don't really know what to do, the 2.0 or the 3.0. I guess the 3.0 sprays much harder, which you really want. I've decided on the 2.0, 30 bucks cheaper.
I know what you're thinking right now. And you're right. Fixing up this dollar boat costs more than a couple bucks. But any boat you plan to take around the world or even across the bay is going to cost you money to refit, whether you buy it for $150,000 or $1.
So I'm at Standard Marine Outfitters right now, and if you guys are in Fairhaven, you need to go and check this out. They have cold beer. I'm looking for somebody that can help us with aluminium. I want to build the solar tower on the back of Little Miss, but we just cannot find somebody that can do stainless steel and aluminium for me. I just want to cut and then I can fit it. Okay, they cannot help me with any aluminium or stainless steel work. I think I know one other place here called Ocean Marine Fabricating. Let's go check them out. Okay, I found it. And by the looks of it, it seems like they have a lot of aluminium and stainless in here. And if they cannot help us, I don't think anybody will. Okay, so good news. I didn't take the camera in there because I didn't want to put the cameras on people's faces. But good news. This guy says he might be able to do like a side project for us. He's going to come out to the boat tomorrow. His name's Nick. Thank heavens. Okay, so this little guy is going to go in the port side in the cockpit. And that's going to make sure that we know when the tanks are full. So let's do it.
So in a nutshell, now we have a deck fill so that we no longer have to run a garden hose through the galley, which is sometimes ended in disaster.
In the overflow fitting for the forward water tanks here. It's just going to go straight into the sink and then go out with the rest of the sink water.
Okay, so drilling holes in my boat has never been my favorite thing. But now that I know my way around this little boat, I am feeling a little bit more comfortable.
It's not the cleanest cut in the world. Now we've got our little spigot in, so our overflow goes into the sink. That is the done deal. That's my little storage area, and then this is what I was hoping to use for storage, but this is where the water is going to be coming in. So this is for the bladder tank. This is for the forward tank, and then so this one we turn this off if we're going to use the aft tank. So in other non-poop related news, we're putting in a bladder tank. Here it is. Ta-da! As you know, I like to do everything myself on the boat. I like to know how to do it. I like to say I did it. I like to really be good at it. Well, Stefan's putting in a black water tank right now. And if it has to do with the toilet, I just tell everybody I don't know. Like, I don't poop. I mean, obviously. And and so why would that be my job? I mean, why would I install the poop tank when I don't even poop and use it?
Well, I have to say that if you guys come out and have a beer with me, ask me about the pooping incidents that we've had on the boat between the big one and the small one. I'm talking Bianca and Aubrey. I am always the designated poop rescuer.
You're my plumber. So he's going to be installing the black water tank today, which we didn't have previously. Like,
I must be honest with you.
What's happening in there?
That's just water that, like, kind of, that's not poop. That's just water that looks like that.
It's just water. So here is our secondhand poo tank. So this pipe is cut at an angle and is going to go into the tank to the bottom so it can suck the poo out. And then this part at the top...
That sounds horrible! Suck the poo out! It's always nice to have your hands on the nice Joker valve.
Get away from me! Get away from me! Ew, gross, 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 gross! No, gross!
Hello, Aubrey!
Put your finger in it!
Cause I have to clean it. Who's gonna clean it?
Why are you touching the poo part? What the? Don't touch anything else in the boat.
See what I'm talking about? I always have to do it.
Seriously, don't touch it! Don't put it anywhere. We'll have to burn the whole boat down. Don't touch the ladder. It's not my job.
Okay, now that the Joker is back, I'm just going to clean all the pipes. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this big black hose at the back. The reason for that is it needs to have a vented loop so that the water can't come in from the seacock and actually drown yourself. Yeah, from the toilet.
Yeah, so now we're going to have a less sinkable boat.
So while I'm doing this, I'm just kind of getting all the calcium out because it builds up on the sides of these Joker valves. It kind of builds up on the sides there and here.
Okay, ew. Now use some hand sani. Stop touching stuff!
Okay, so it's really hard to keep up with all these projects going on the boat. We're just completing stuff as we're receiving parts and just making sure that you get to everything. Right now, Aubrey is busy glassing in a piece of wood for the 2 pumps that we showed you earlier. I'm going to show you as he's doing that.
Okay, so there's epoxy underneath here to seal this piece of plywood to the old plank that we
Yeah.
were using for the pump. And then it's also tabbed into the hole, which means that this is just folded in half underneath there and then epoxied to the hole, which is called tabbing, which I actually just learned. So that's pretty cool. We have on the boat right now 2 tanks, one in the V berth and then one here on the starboard side in the quarter bunk. The one in the quarter bunk has to be filled through the actual tank. So what we're doing is we're putting some more valves in. This vent pipe was just going straight to the bilge. This was just emptying just into the bilge.
It needs to go up and then needs to come down.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is it's gonna come through here and spill out up here. We're also doing a deck fill for this, which is gonna be a lot easier to fill our back system, and we might do an additional bladder in the back as well. Ta-da!
We've made a departure for my favorite marine product, 5200. As I found out, it's only supposed to be used below the waterline. My personal opinion is that it works for everything, even sneakers.
Let's talk about the water. For a second. Get on to it. Okay?
So there you have it, one more man-made hole filled properly on Little Miss. This will be the new home of 4 new batteries, although we haven't yet decided which brand to go with.
Putting in the access hatches for the water tank. Not with this.
This tank up
Done.
there.
2 seconds. Nice access port there in front to be able to get in there, see how much water is in there first of all, and second of all to be able to clean it. Chuff chuff, quickly. Okay, it's been a really long hard day, and as you guys know, it just never stops. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna just get these access holes in there and put some 5200 over it. So just when you thought that was the last project, it's not.
Whoa. Got a really good sucker on it. When we got the boat, this part was leaking. So all of this molding here, the trim, was leaking, and it caused all of this wood to rot over the years. Now we're taking out the rotten portion, and then we're gonna put in new wood, but not the whole thing because it's glued in pretty good. And then we're gonna paint it. So no more alligator upholstery here, which is kind of sad. So this is the companionway step. So we're gonna pop these wood bungs out, and then we're gonna take this piece of upholstery off, and we're gonna varnish the step. This is also really water damaged, but thankfully, since this is a 1976 boat, the wood on it is really nice wood. So we're just gonna cut a new piece of marine plywood, and I really want it to have teak on the front because I'd like to varnish it.
That would look nice.
Yeah.
Are you gonna veneer "I love the African" into it?
Yeah,
and like carve it?
I was gonna do a mosaic of my favorite part of your body.
Oh, that's a good idea. Which is my nose.
Your thumb. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is pretty rotted out right here. I was just gonna varnish the front, but because it's just a simple cut, we're just gonna replace it.
What are you doing?
Using a heat gun, I just only wish it was hotter outside. Getting off the 5200, how we're doing that is with the heat gun and the scraper. So I got this handy dandy scraper, and this is what I is doing. I'm sanding down the fiberglass.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It is just about fixed. We just have these clamps on here, which is holding the epoxy. So there's the hull of the boat with the fiberglass. I scraped off all of the 5200, and then we cut these plywood pieces to fit where the rotten wood was, and now we've got this clamped on.
It looks like something out of a horror movie.
It does.
Looks like a booby trap.
Does look like a booby trap.
Not only is she a very good kisser, but she can fix a boat too. Winning!
Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to head over to Vimeo to see our everyday shenanigans on The Daily Show. And most importantly, a huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. You are such a ray of sunshine.
And I think we're going to make bracelets for you guys and send them out to our patrons, because this is the steering wheel cover. I think it's kind of cool.